Christine McGuinness' hellish childhood blighted by sex abuse, rape, booze and anorexia. Christine McGuinness opens up for the first time about her harrowing upbringing, including being abused by a family friend from the age of 9 and her battles with anorexia and alcohol, before finding happiness with Top Gear and Question of Sports. Patty. Christine McGuinness lays bare her past in new book by Vicky Newman, assistant showbiz editor 20:30, 13th of November 2021, updated 20:44. November 13, 2021. Model and TV star Christine McGuinness today reveals she endured a hellish childhood blighted by sex abuse, rape, booze, anorexia, bullying and poverty. The mom of 3 opens up for the first time about years of pain and how she has haunting visions of her past. Bubbly Christine, 33, is known as a reality TV star and wife of Top Gear and Question of Sport host Patty. But only those closest to her are aware of her harrowing upbringing. In exclusive extracts from her book A Beautiful Nightmare, she reveals, she was 13 when a schoolboy raped her at a house party. A family friend abused her from the age of 9 to 13 and made her watch explicit videos and footage of murders. She developed anorexia at the age of 8 and went through secondary school without eating a proper meal. By the time she was a teenager, booze became a crutch to lean on to cope with bullying by girls at school. Her family was so poor she resorted to shoplifting school shoes. Despite everything, she now enjoys life with Patty and their kids and says, "Nothing could knock me back down." Christine, who was a dancer and model before appearing on TV's Real Housewives of Cheshire, says, "I'm a mum to 3 children I adore, I'm in a happy marriage, my career is reaching new heights and I feel more capable than I have ever done." She talks lovingly of the kids and Patty, 48, or Patrick, as she calls him because that's how he introduced himself. "I'm proud to be Patrick's wife. But I am Christine and want people to know about my life, before and after I took my husband's name," she says. Christine bears her soul in her emotional, but ultimately uplifting, story, published by Mirror Books. She tells of humble beginnings, born in Blackpool and raised on a council estate in Halewood, Merseyside. Mum Joanne was a cleaner, Dad Johnny was an engineer. They had Christine and Billy Joe, a year older. They split up and Joanne later had Christine's half-brother Jamie. She writes, "Times were hard and Mum was juggling cleaning jobs just to be able to afford to have the heating on and put food on the table. Coming up to Christmases and birthdays, she'd be exhausting herself working so that she could buy presents. I attempted to take a pair of shoes from Esta. My school shoes had holes in and I was bullied about it. Much to my horror, I got caught and the police took me in a back room. They called my mum in. The shop assistant spotted my battered loafers. I wailed to this complete stranger, 'I'm getting bullied and I've got holes in my shoes.' My mum said, I can't afford new ones for her. Seeing how little we had, they let me keep them. My childhood was a difficult one, no two ways about it." Amid family woes, no one noticed Christine's issues with food. She developed anorexia aged 8, due to being fussy with food, rather than body image. Christine would tell her mum she had eaten at school to avoid a meal at home. The truth is she was skipping food at both. She reveals, "I had anorexia for years and if I'm honest, it still can be a problem now, but I'm getting better. I don't think it's something you ever fully get over. I always felt like I didn't fit in. The dining hall was a social experience I couldn't deal with. Queuing for food used to give me major anxiety. I didn't know where to sit or who to sit with. Having to socialize and the fear of rejection was a massive thing. When a dinner lady noticed, she started making Christine a sandwich with the crusts cut off and a slice of cheese. At 14, her eating disorder was diagnosed when her periods failed to kick in, and she saw a dietitian. Christine says Patty has helped her eat more normally. They met when she was 19 and on a modeling job. She admits she was scared about moving in with him as he would see how little she ate. But Patty gently stepped in to try change her eating habits after they struggled to conceive. Christine, now mom to twins Penelope and Leo, 8, and Felicity, 5, was diagnosed with polycystic ovary syndrome, which affected her fertility. To get pregnant, she needed to gain weight to restart her periods. She says, Patrick would give me food in little dribs and drabs, so I didn't even notice. It was in such a soft way. Instead of confronting me with a piled-up plate, he'd say, "Oh, try this." He knew I was struggling with my anorexia. He started organizing little come dine with me parties, for us and close friends, because he knew I'd never eat in a restaurant. He was clever, he figured out a way to get me to eat. It worked and slowly my periods began reappearing. After having her children, who are all autistic, Christine's anorexia battle continued. The low point came when she collapsed while with the twins. She writes, "It became a regular thing to faint. I fainted all throughout my teenage years and my 20s. Patrick called an ambulance a few times. Even during lockdown, I fainted and had to explain to the paramedics I hadn't eaten for a while. The real wake-up call was when I collapsed when I was with the twins. It's something I'll never forgive myself for. I don't know how long I was out, probably minutes. It upsets me thinking about it, and I'm ashamed. I've got to make sure I stay healthy for the kids." While anorexia first hit when she was 8, unimaginable trauma was to follow for Christine. From the age of 9 to 13, she was sexually abused by someone close to her family. He made her watch sexual videos and clips of people being killed. She recalls, "He would take me to his house to watch disturbing videos. I never understood what he got out of forcing me to view this extreme violence. He'd also take me to places like the beach, and after playing in the sea he'd tell me he didn't have any dry clothes. I would then have to travel home naked. If we went to a day out at a pool, he would come into the changing rooms with me. Now I know that's because he was a pedophile. My sleeping pattern these days is worse than dreadful at the best of times. It takes me ages to drift off and I wake after every hour, or couple of hours. And I believe that's because of the videos he showed me. I can't unsee it, and most nights I have nightmares. It's absolutely awful." By the age of 13, Christine had turned to alcohol to blot out the trauma of relentless bullying by girls jealous of her popularity with boys and because she had entered beauty pageants. Her rape ordeal came after she had a skinful. Christine says, "It happened at a house party and, as usual, I'd been drinking. In a drunken stupor I got into bed. A boy from school came in and had sex with me, against my will. I remember saying no and tried to push him off. I blamed myself massively. I know as an adult it wasn't my fault, but I think if I wasn't drunk it wouldn't have happened. But I'm okay, thank God. It's why I'm really protective of my children, the girls especially. I try to take strength out of any kind of trauma. But there was no denying it was awful. To this day, I've only confided in a few people about the events of that night. I went through so much at such a young age and people always ask me if I've had therapy. I never have, although I probably should because of my nightmares. It is something I'm contemplating. In terms of my children, the world is moving forward and they're never going to have a childhood like I did, thank God. In my later teens, I spent more time drunk than sober. A lot of times I necked a bottle of vodka before I left the house. A night out quickly turned into a 4-day bender. It wasn't until I started my dancing career at 18 that I knocked drinking on the head. Dancing saved me. I haven't had a drink since my teen years, not even on my wedding day, and I don't miss it. I'm not saying I'll never have alcohol again, maybe I will on my 40th birthday. I learned my lessons about the dangers of alcohol early on. It's hard to imagine how Christine finally found her way to happiness, but, remarkably, she did. She says, "Things just happened to me and I had no control over anything. But since hitting the 4th decade of my beautiful nightmare, I've actively lived life as best I can and I really feel like this year is my best so far. There's nothing else that can happen that will knock me back down, so I'm just trying to enjoy the second part of my life as best I can." When you think things can't get any worse, some people will focus on the worst, but you can't live in the past. Before now, I constantly questioned who I am, what I'm doing and what my purpose is. But now everything has just fallen into place. Pre-order Christine McGuinness, A Beautiful Nightmare, RRP £20, out November 25th, and save £5 with the offer code XA9. Order online at Mirror Books. Co.uk. Follow Mirror Facebook, Twitter.